The CAPS mathematics lesson on common fractions, I'll be able to design and address classrooms that do not have a one-on-one learner device, focusing instead on optimizing centralization of technology, like laptops, overhead projectors, alongside with dynamic physical tools like whiteboards. I will evaluate how my activities are implemented and this layout and justify the placement on the SAMR framework. In Activity 1, I will use an introductory warm-up. I used my laptop and an overhead projector to run a fast-paced Canva slide quiz. Learners viewed the visual fractions modules and collaborated in pairs and wrote down the matching word form on their individual mini whiteboards before holding them up simultaneously. This activity operates as a substitution level. Using projectors, a slide directly replaces traditional chalkboards, flashcards, or chalkboard drawings with no functional charging to the task itself. However, it significantly optimizes classroom efficiency. It allows me to instantly run a whole class Q&A check immediately, identifying words like fifths and sevenths needed for quick verbal recaps before we can advance to the core concept. Activity 2 was done on a Canva layout and was projected on a whiteboard. Moving into the body of the lesson, Activity 2 focused on visual fraction comparisons. I projected the interactive edited Canva worksheet onto my laptop. I manipulated perfectly proportioned digital fractions, circles, and strips on the screen, utilizing Canva transparency slides on a layout of fractions like 4/7, 3/5. Students were able to observe the proof and map out the relationship onto physical whiteboard number lines. This activity was augmentation level. The technology acts as a substitute for the drawing of fractions on a traditional chalkboard. It acts as a critical functional improvement that argues for learning. Drawing accurate sevenths or eighths by hand is notorious for being difficult at intermediate phase and causes errors. Canva provides mathematical flawless shapes and is optical at overlays. Features make geometric proof visuals in a way that is static, is better than chalkboard layouts. While monitoring, I paused and I used interaction as Q&A sessions to highlight true contrasts between the whiteboard strategies. In order to do this, I was able to halve the teaching time in comparison. Moving on to Activity 3. This was the fraction battle or the oral Q&A or a quiz. Activity 3 served as our formative conclusion. I displayed a fraction battle, ordering a quiz on an overhead projector via Canva. Students ordered non-unit fractions on their whiteboards in pairs. This critical step occurred during the conclusion of the Q&A session, where we selected pairs, stood up verbally and explained their wins, defending their score strategy using targeted mathematical discourse. This activity was on the modification level. On this level, it went on simply being a substitution because the centralized technology and fundamentals modified the workflow and the standard of written text quiz. By scaling the quiz to maximum visual format, it transformed the task from being isolated written sheets into an inclusive